Greetings YouTube! My name is James McCorn and today I'm going to be reviewing not the Blue Yeti Pro microphone, but its microphone boom arm extension, the Heil PL2T. A very, very nice Microsoft boom arm, well worth the money. And I'm going to be reviewing this product in the style that I like the best, which is simple. Stuff I wish that I knew before I purchased this device. So let's go ahead and dig straight into it. The first part is reading the reviews. A lot of the reviews about this microphone boom arm extension, which you can see it's fully extended at this point, criticize the mounting bracket, the U-shaped mounting bracket, and they say that it cracks and breaks easily. They also state that the microphone boom arm does not fold completely up unless it folds all the way back. And as you can see, this wall will stop that. So we'll be covering that in the review too. We'll also be talking about the fact that this upper channel here for the cable path pops off, and we will go ahead and cover that as well in the review. And finally, we'll cover the boom noise as you move it forward and backwards. And we'll see how much noise it really makes, because one of the primary purposes of buying this boom arm is to actually reduce the amount of noise while you record. It's also a way to get the microphone up and out of the way. And I'll be covering all of that right now. So let's dig straight into it. First of all, this boom arm, why did I buy it? Which is always a good reason. Like, why would you purchase this object? And that's simple. I got tired, as you could see my stand right there. I got tired of moving the stand in and moving my keyboard back. And I really wanted something a little bit more elegant, because when I'm recording commercials or recording videos, I don't want to be constantly moving my keyboard forward and then back as I'm making revisions to my ad as I'm working on it. So this boom arm has been really nice in terms of getting the proper adjustment and depth. I've also noticed a boost in my voice because I don't have to hunch over as much. With my old setup, I was jury rigging additional stands to bring the microphone up to the height that it is right now, and I'd still end up having to lean over and compromise some of the lung capacity. That lung capacity is really useful when doing recordings because it allows you to add that extra pop that most people pick up on, even if it is very subtle. So this boom arm has been very nice. One of the complaints people have said is that it's very squeaky and noisy while you move it. So let's go ahead and examine that now. Apart from that initial click from that top wheel, no, there isn't noise. There isn't a constant high-pitched screech. There is no issues with it in terms of moving it forward and backwards. Dead silent. Dead silent. I did hear just a tad bit of noise out of there, but it's nothing you want to get from any other product out there. And the more money you spend really won't change the fact that when you initially move it, it's still friction on the joint. You can maybe add just a little bit of grease if you're really sensitive with noise, but 9 times out of 9, your microphone's going to be good enough and focused only on your voice. It isn't going to pick up a lot of the ambience. Otherwise, you would really be in a very soundproofed environment. And most people, they don't have that. I'm doing this from the review of an average person, not a dedicated crazy person who has soundproofing material everywhere, but as a normal individual who has airplanes fly over their house, etc. So let's go ahead and dig into the next part, the cable channel. Have I ever had a problem with this popping off and having to use twist ties to hold that cable in? And the answer is no. Now you can see that there is a little bit of pop up from the flex, but other than that, it is held on, and is held on in 3 points. This is point 1, that's point 2, and there's point 3. That allows this thing to just snap right in, and it holds the cable. This is big enough to hold not only a USB 2 cable, which I was able to flush in very easily into the microphone, but it's also able to handle a 3.5 millimeter audio cable that will run right along here. Now, in order to get it to run to the computer, though, I am using a USB extension cable that runs underneath the desk and then plugs into the primary cable onto the microphone, and I have had no issues. There is zero tension. As you can see right here, there is zero tension on this at any time, which is really quite nice. So let's go ahead and jump into the next part. The putting away. Can this thing fold perfectly flat and vertical? Let's go ahead and test it. That's about as far as I'm comfortable to go. That's about as low as it goes. So if you decide to put this on the side of your desk, yes, it is true. This will not fold up perfectly unless you have it mounted so that way the thing can go off your desk. Now, I do not, and I suspect most people that, but I don't find this to be a problem. As you can see, it's clearly out of the way of my setup, and what's even better, which I don't know why anyone has never thought of this, you can tilt it all the way to the side. There, it takes up so little room on your desk, it is inconsequential. Can I use this area? No, not really. I can't really use this area, but most people don't use this small little section of the desk anyways, particularly when most people have a large desk when they're doing production. But even if they didn't, you don't have to put this next to the wall. You could put this behind your desk if you have areas open behind you. There are lots of options. Okay, let's dig into the next part of this review of this stand, and that is this point right here. This is a standard microphone adapter, not a metric one, a standard one. So if you have a metric mount for your microphone, you are going to need an adapter. Now, something I'm going to point out is if you have the Blue Yeti, which is a very popular microphone, and you get their shock mount, which is actually quite lacking in this joint right here. I think that's the biggest problem why everyone complains about this, is that is the tightest it could go, and it still sags underneath the weight of the microphone. Ridiculous. I've tried this undermounted, I've tried it above. I found above worked best when it tilts down, because when it goes under, it just drops the microphone like 90 degrees, and it is pretty much useless. Can this support the USB Yeti, which is considerably a heavy microphone? With this and all the additional equipment, the heel has no problem holding it up. Speaking of adapters, though, I did need this adapter ring. I don't know if you could see it. It's right down here. I am highlighting it with my finger. This adapter ring allows the Yeti to stay on. And the reason why is you can see there's still a gap here. It's very small, but there's still a gap, which would actually be threading, which would make this very loose if I were to put this on just by itself. And I don't like loose heads, especially when I'm moving this microphone stand around. So that adapter ring, pretty cheap to pick up, pretty easy to pick up, well worth it. And I've had this microphone stand for a couple of months now, and it is very, very easy to work with, very easy to manipulate, and I find that I would purchase it again if I had the choice, just because it has increased, if not doubled, the amount of times I now use my microphone for activities, just purely because of the convenience factor while producing content. So I'll go ahead and give you some shots again about how I use it primarily, and you guys could perhaps get some ideas for yourself. So I normally have it about up here, yes, it does seem to block the monitor underneath first impressions, but keep in mind you're keeping about a thumb's distance away from the microphone itself, so you're like this when you're using it, which essentially gives you an unobstructed view of the monitor down below, which is really handy, especially when you're revising scripts. And then I typically do all my recording on this top monitor up here, which allows me to see all my levels, make adjustments as I operate, and then work on the script down here. But that's the way I use my setup. One of these days I'll go over my particular setup and why I have my monitors the way that I do. But I'll have to save that for another video, and perhaps go over what I use on a day-to-day basis as well, because everyone likes seeing what other people are doing, and I'm no exception. So I might as well share what I do, so that way people get an idea of how my normal operations are when I'm creating media content, etc. Well, this concludes the review of the Heil PL2T. I hope to see you guys here next time. Hey there, just wanted to pop in and say that if you haven't checked out my vlogs on Winning YouTube, you're more than able to, and by clicking the links that I will provide after this video. Also, this is how I sound with the microphone, much better as compared to the cell phone I was using to shoot the video. So this is the way I normally sound on my videos. A lot better, a lot more professional, a lot more realistic and true to form, as opposed to a tin can microphone, which is included in my Note 4. So with that, I'm signing off. Bye-bye.